What is your discourse with this government on some of these issues? Because they're long-standing. I mean, UFCW has been a staunch supporter of really some of the most vulnerable workers in Ontario. Are you making any progress, or are they receptive to some of your recommendations?
Well, thank you, Catherine. I think on your first point, in terms of the gender wage gap, I think it's really crucial for the committee and cabinet and the government to put this within some of their larger policy and legislative ambitions. And I mentioned labor law reform as part of my presentation, but I think it's key to view this process through that lens. And I think when we talk about gender wage gap, I think you can't have a serious conversation in Ontario about that issue until we have a look at improving the ability of workers to join a union.
That's right.
Let's face it, you know, UFCW, we've been trying very hard over the past 10, 15, 20 years to help the most vulnerable worker populations in this country, whom I would strongly argue includes women who work in the retail sector. And women increasingly work for gigantic transnational corporations, like Walmart as an example, and it's no secret their history when it comes to their employees trying to exercise their collective bargaining rights. You know, we need to create a better balance in this province and in every jurisdiction in Canada, as far as I'm concerned, that reflects the new reality of who our employers are. Employers aren't ma and pa anymore. Employers are huge transnationals. The employers are private equity firms who live in places far away from Toronto. And we need to do everything we can, I think, as Ontarians, and in your case as the government, to ensure that there's a proper balance between us, the workers, and increasingly these transnationals who, in every manner, have so much more power than employers had a very short time ago.
And I'm glad you are talking about some of the most marginalized workers in Ontario when you talk about migrant workers. That was one of the reasons that we've been trying to get this government to bring forward the Anti-Racism Secretariat and have some resources to apply some supports in that regard. Just on card check certification, though, I mean, you're asking, this is not the first time you've asked this government to, you know, open workplaces in this way. And you asked them to seriously consider card check certification in this upcoming budget. What does that look like, and what would you like the government to do on this particular issue, Derek?
Well, I just, you know, preface my answer by saying that what we're asking for is what Ontario had for decades, until it was changed in the mid-1990s with some would suggest a more extreme agenda. And we're really just trying to regain some rights and some ground that workers in this province always had. You know, especially, as I mentioned in my last comments, we're in the 21st century. Globalization is not going anywhere, and employers will continue to get bigger and stronger. We need to make sure that workers in this province have a real chance to exercise their labor rights.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, I need to stop you here. Thank you for your presentation and your written submission. Thank you.